Hey guys, welcome to the webinar. We are going to have a blast tonight. I want to thank you guys for cluing us in or counting us into the time that you have for this evening, because there's a lot of other things that you could be doing, but you're here with us right now. Hey Rob.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Man. So we've been on here about 10 minutes just troubleshooting tech stuff, and I am excited to actually get to something that doesn't involve checking my microphones or my speakers. Let me pour myself a frosty beverage here. We have over 500 people registered for this tonight. That is not a made-up number. I didn't put the word out about this until yesterday, so I think we're going to have a pretty good crowd. We've got, let's see, we got 61 people here with us so far since we started the broadcast. Hello, 61 of you. I think we're going to have a heck of a lot more here in just a moment. Before we dive into anything truly meaningful, I need to acknowledge a couple of things. Thing number one is that I need you guys to vote on who has the awesomest beard. As you can see, Rob's got a beard going. His is kind of, let's see the profile, Rob. What do you got on the side there? All right. So what if you had to give a name to that beard? What would you call it? Like the Mountain Man? You live in pretty high altitude there in Denver.
Yeah, I would probably go lumberjack.
Lumberjack. Okay.
Yeah.
It's solid. Yeah. You got a nice like square. Like your face isn't really shaped like that. You know, the beard gives it a nice.
Yeah.
A chisel at the
bottom.
Well,
it kept me warm on top of Mount Yale, which is one of the 14,000 foot plus peaks in Colorado. 2 days ago with my family, so we ascended Mount Yale in the Sawatch Range.
You had to keep warm. It's the middle of freaking summer.
Dude, it was cold. It was a cold.
Man, I could have used some of that. It's been blistering hot here in Memphis. So you've got, we'll call it the Mountain Man. I've got, I don't know what you would call it. It's more of like the hipster, maybe? I don't know. I don't really consider myself a hipster, but it has kind of that look. I'm on my way to the Viking, but I don't have that yet.
I'd say urban outfitter.
There you go. There you go. So I'd like you guys to give us your feedback on who has the best beard, just randomly throughout the evening. Secondly, I want to address this picture on my screen. Rob, do you remember?
I do remember. That's the Nickel Diner in Los Angeles, and
yes,
they have some sweet bacon-covered donuts.
That's right. This is actually where you and I first met. We were in San Diego, and we were at an event together, and we just happened to say, hey, let's go grab a bite. And heard about the Nickel Diner, went there, and got a bacon donut. It was the first time I'd ever heard of such a thing, and it was quite tasty. Look at those two baby faces down there. This was like 2008, maybe 9.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Like that? Yeah, that was a while ago. All right, guys, we got 97 people on the webinar now. As soon as we break 100, we're going to get started. So any second now, I want to break that 100. Oh, 90. Oh, we just broke 100. All right. Time to officially get started. All right, so let me change the size of our little video feed here just a smidge because it's in my way. I can't see everything. All right. So, guys, welcome to Awesome REI Live. I'm JP Moses, and this is Rob Swanson. I don't know exactly where his video is on your screen. He may be beside me or below me or something. It kind of depends on what GoToWebinar. Yeah. Somewhere around me is this other bearded guy named Rob. And tonight we are going to talk about how to scale your business and get a dozen leads a day for as little as $2 a lead. I'm excited to do this. It's just going to be an unscripted, open conversation. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Rob's going to answer a lot of questions and walk through, and we're just going to basically pick his brain. I'll sprinkle in some of my thoughts, and we'll have a good old time for at least an hour, maybe more, depending on how the questions go. Speaking of questions, let me ask you right now to please hold your questions for just a little while, but write them down on a piece of paper, okay? Hopefully you've got like a legal pad or something. Here's one that my daughter drew a picture on. If you got something like that handy, or a notepad or Microsoft word or whatever, just make a note of whatever questions that come up as we're going through the next few minutes here. And then when I say, okay, it's time for questions, drop them in the question box at that point, because otherwise we're liable to have the question queue filled up with questions that we may already have answered at some point, and it'll just take us more time to have to sort through them. So we definitely want to answer some of your questions tonight as well. Let's see. Let me just make sure if people are actually hearing us. Could you guys do me a favor in your little docking station there? If you're hearing us, can I just get a few of you to say yes? There we go. We got yeses coming in. All right. Awesome. Awesome. And guys, we treat this seriously in one sense, that we really want to give you some good information tonight for the time that we have you. And again, I want to say, especially to those who just joined us, we have 119 people here with us now and counting. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. We really have no agenda other than just have a good time and learn some stuff. We do take that seriously. We want you to walk away with some good, solid information that's going to help sharpen your real estate investing axe. We're going to have a good time along the way as well. Rob, before we move on to the next slide, cheers to you and to the evening, my friend. All right, clink. All right. So what's this all about? A little bit of housekeeping before we get into the nitty-gritty. This is all about getting more seller leads. We're going to talk about how to scale a real estate business. We're going to cover some killer tools and systems that are going to help you accomplish that. And we're going to answer your live questions, as I said. We're going to have a lot of fun. I actually got ahead of myself there, didn't I? But some of you guys may not even know like who the heck we are. We meaning Patrick and I, Awesome REI. So for any of you who are new, who may not be familiar with us, just in a quick, tight little nutshell, Awesome REI, awesomerei.com is our home base, and we are real estate investing for awesome people. That includes you too, Rob, for tonight. You're not so awesome after tonight, though. So that's Patrick. That's my partner in crime over there. These things that are popping up on your screen right now, these are what we call our 12 always do's. They are on the About page at awesomerei.com. These are basically our values as a company. They are things that we try to reflect in everything that we do. We always keep them in front of us. Every week when we have a team meeting, we incorporate these in one way or another. And the ones that you see highlighted in orange, always care, always have fun, always keep it real, have an abundance mindset, and so on, those are the ones that we're actually going to be hitting on tonight specifically. These are the ones that reflect what we want to accomplish tonight. We want to give first. We want this to be awesome. We want to have a positive impact and make a difference in some form or fashion for those of you who are here with us. So if you want to see, find out more about us, about Awesome REI, and our position in the real estate investing sphere, then head on over to awesomerei.com at some point and give it a look. Who's JP? I'm a lifestyle-driven, family-focused guy. I'm a faith-centric person, and so you'll hear me talk a lot about my family, my faith, and my values. I've been in real estate investing since 2000. I've been a full-time wholesaler since 2002. I have over 400 transactions notched on my belt. Currently in our wholesaling business, we do around 3 to 7 deals a month here locally. Even though our business is wholesaling focused right now, I've done a lot of other types of deals in the past. Wholesaling is just the best fit for me personally. I like a lot about it. I won't go too much into that, but my experiences outside of wholesaling are various and sundry as well. And I am the El Presidente at awesomerei.com. But enough about me. Most of you guys know who I am. Let's talk about Rob Swanson. Now, it took me, I know you're looking at these pictures, and you guys are probably thinking, oh, look, it's all the lifestyle pictures. You know, Rob's living the dream. Yeah, it took me all of about 30 seconds on Rob's Facebook page to find as many lifestyle pictures as I could fill this side of the page with, and it was just at like the first top. I didn't even have to scroll to get to them because this dude lives this insanely enviable, active family life that just is awesome. And there's no other way to put it. So I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about these pictures, Rob, but first, just a couple of things that I know are worth saying. First, he hails from Denver, or the Denver area. You're not in Denver proper, are you?
Yeah, we're up between Denver and Boulder.
Okay. He colleged in North Dakota. I learned that from your Facebook page today. Now, I don't know if colleged is a verb properly. Spell check didn't like it, but we're making it a verb. And you live to tell about it. Now, my whole family lives in North Dakota, so I thought that was quite the Snapple fun fact. You're used to the cold, obviously, but just in a nutshell, how did you get from North Dakota to Denver?
Let's ask this question first. How did I get from Minnesota to North Dakota? So I grew up in Minnesota, and I knew from the time I was 15 years old I wanted to be a civil engineer. That's just what I wanted to be, and that's what I wanted to do. And my uncle was a civil engineer. I asked him, hey, where's the best place to go to school? He said North Dakota State, because that's where his firm hired a lot of people from. So that's where I went to college. That's how I ended up in North Dakota.
Man. And so there's not a lot of people that go to North Dakota intentionally. Most people flee from North Dakota. My family happens to be among the few who went to North Dakota as well. So we've been friends for about 8 years now, I'm pretty sure, if I did the math right. And the official number, I believe, is that Rob has done bajillions of deals in 14 states. It's probably been more than that. You've been saying 14 states for like the last 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
He is, I believe, we in the business call him a super duper expert in real estate investing, wholesaling, structuring deals, raising money, and he is one of the few guys on the earth I have a man crush on because of his mad teaching skills with a Z. You may, if you're just out on the interwebs in the real estate sphere, you may have run across Rob with his training on blitz wholesaling, micro wholesaling. He is also the owner of Freedom Soft. You may have noticed the T-shirt that he's sporting there. Pretty sweet looking swag there. Look at the pictures here on the right. Just give us kind of a quick summary or maybe hit on each of these. Tell us what we're looking at here, man, because I know there's some pretty special memories just right there.
Yeah, man, I will. And I was looking at all those pictures, and I'm like, man, that's all like in the last 30 days. So the upper left picture, the one with my wife and my 3 kids and the mountain lake behind us, that is up in Rocky Mountain National Park about 3 weeks ago. Actually, it was over the 4th of July, so a month ago. On the 4th of July, we hiked up to Sky Pond, which is about a 10-mile round trip hike up in the mountains into a beautiful backcountry cirque. Then next to that is my forehead, and I can't remember what that's. Oh, it says Butthead Dad.
Kick me.
Something. What does it say?
Kick me.
Kick me. Yeah, well, that's compliments of my 13-year-old son. So I think that's enough said there. Then down to the right is me, and I think we were backcountry skiing also up in Rocky Mountain National Park. The kayaks, those are my 3 kids and my wife, and me sitting in kayaks on Chatfield Reservoir. We went out there to just hang out and do a little fishing and tool around. Just 2 days ago, in the lower left is Nick and I, my son. We were on the top of Mount Yale, which is one of the 14ers, 14,000-foot peaks here in Colorado, and so we climbed Mount Yale 2 days ago, and my whole family did it. Actually, my daughter summited just ahead of us, and then my son and I summited right behind them, and then my wife, she was not feeling well with the effects of altitude on that particular day, so she turned back just below 14,000 feet, but you know that happens on some days when you get to that altitude.
Those are some beautiful mini Swansons surrounding you. You got a good-looking family, man.
Yeah, man, it's great. Family's awesome.
Somebody asking if this is really live, so I just want to validate. Yes, this is really live. In fact, so far it looks like we're tied on best beard. I'm kind of doing some quick math here from what I can see, and then a couple of people say neither. Got a couple of beard haters, and then Greg Sorum says we have better things to do than listen to this crap. So shout out to Greg, appreciate that. maybe you should go do something else. The rest of us are going to have a good time here working through some good stuff. All right. One more thing before we turn into Q&A time with Rob. I mentioned already that he's the owner of FreedomSoft, and some amount of what we are going to be talking about is going to include references to FreedomSoft. Many of you are familiar with FreedomSoft. Many of you are not, and we're not going to have an opportunity to answer a whole lot of FreedomSoft related questions, okay? Because their goal here is not to make a sales pitch, or we're not leading up to an offer of any sort. But as a courtesy, I want to make sure you guys know where you can get more information. We're going to show you a little bit of it, because some of the tools, some of the resources that are applicable to our discussion tonight are in FreedomSoft. So as we're showing it to you, if we don't get to answer whatever questions pop in your head, if you're interested in it, I just want to let you know you can get a free trial, a 14-day free trial of FreedomSoft, and give it a whirl, kick the tires. It's basically kind of a home base for your business. I won't go into any detail there, but you can see the link there is awesomerei.com/FreedomSoft. That is what we call an affiliate link. So for sending you a referral over there, if you decide to give FreedomSoft a shot and it's a good fit for you, and you integrate it into your business, then we'll get a little referral fee for doing that, just in the interest of full disclosure, but I don't mind saying that. FreedomSoft is a freaking awesome resource, and for those of you who remember FreedomSoft from a few years ago, it ain't the same thing today that it was back then. It has been completely revamped from the ground up and has some of the most impressive features of any software I've ever seen for real estate investors. Again, my goal is not to sell you on it here. I just want to make sure that you guys know where you can go to get information and to pick up a free trial of FreedomSoft if you're interested. I'll mention that again when we wrap up here. You might just want to scratch that down somewhere so that we don't have to answer questions. What was that link again? All right. So let's do this, man. Our topic here, scaling your business and getting up to a dozen leads a day for as little as $2 a lead. Those are really they're two different things, but they are also, or it can be very symbiotic with each other. So I want to ask you, where should we begin the conversation in your view?
Yeah, so, JP, if you and I are just having a conversation, right? We're just sitting around having a beer and talking real estate, scale, and systems and all of that stuff. Where our conversation would go would be you can't scale your business until you have systems built in your business that allow you to do this. Now I want to give you the definition of scale, because if we're going to talk scale, we have to define it first. And here's what I mean. Scale is defined as a significant increase in the output, what you get, profits, leads, deals, whatever the output is of your business. So a significant increase in the output from little to no increase of input. So input is money or time or effort, right? So you're going to get a lot more out with very little increase in extra in. That's what I define as scale. Now, how we get there and how we actually scale a real estate investing business is, I sum it up, it starts with three things. And all of this, JP, is going to lead us into the actual detailed training, right? Because I get a kick out of doing this stuff, like teaching people something so they can walk away from this and execute and implement something in their business tonight if they want to stay up that late and implement it and get return and get results back. So three things. And folks, write this down. Simple system scale. Simple system scale. We defined scale. We defined scale. So now we got to take these other three words, and this is the framework from which you're going to build your business. Keep it simple. Okay, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of YouTube videos, frankly, a lot of podcasts, a lot of things that can complicate the business. So number one, I want you to keep it simple, because if you keep it simple, then others can do it. Okay, other people can do it. The only way you scale your business is when you start to begin to grow your team, and that doesn't mean you come out of pocket and pay people, but you're going to grow your team. And the way to grow your team is to keep it simple, because then they can do it. Build a system, because when you build a system, they will do it. And when other people start to do stuff, your business can scale, and you get out of the way. So keep it simple, build a system, and let it scale. Those are three things that are really important, JP, to answer your initial question on where do we start this conversation. Number one, with the definition of scale, and number two on those three things I want people to focus in on: simple, system, and scale. Because as we start to grow the team, and as we start to grow the business, and as we start to grow the leads, all of these other things come into place. And so we're sitting here talking about growing a team, right? Why would you ever grow a team? Well, you grow a team when you start to grow your lead generation. JP, you know, no business, no real estate investor is successful without consistent, good lead flow, right? Leads are the lifeblood of every business.
Maybe perhaps the most important system.
Absolutely the most important system. And where we can take this conversation, one of the things we can talk about is the life cycle of a motivated seller lead. Now, and this all leads into how do we turn this pipeline on and we start generating dozens of leads a day. I'm looking at, while we're talking here, because I think this is supposed to be pretty casual, right? So I've got my Skype pulled up, and I'm looking at messages from one of my VAs, and I'm looking on the last few days here for just some of the lead flow in two of the markets that we're active in. And I've got here 16 leads a day in a day. Then the next day I've got 32 leads. Then the next day I've got 26 leads. Then the next day I've got 13 leads. The next day I've got 22 leads. Next day I've got 19 leads. Then I've got 22. Then I've got 24. Then I've got 20. And I mean, it keeps going down to today. I'm looking at today's numbers, 23 leads from the lead generation strategy that we'll be talking about later today. So the life cycle of a lead then in this business falls into 5 phases. And here's why I want to teach this aspect of this part of the business, JP. People will go on trainings, right, and they'll hear you've got to build systems in your business. You've got to systematize things. And where I think a lot of the training falls short is they say build a system, but they don't ever teach somebody how to build that system, right? And so it's difficult to scale a business without a system, but it's difficult to build a system without a framework of how that system should come together. And two of the most important systems that you'll build in your business are lead generation and funding. You got to build two systems around getting the money and constant, consistent daily lead generation. Well, if you break down the life cycle of a lead, of a seller lead, so that you can build a system, here's how it's broken, JP, into 5 phases. Number 1 is capture. Number 2 is engage. Number 3 is nurture. Number 4 is close. And number 5 is refer.
Say those again for me. I'm going to write them down, please.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you why this matters in a minute. So capture, engage, nurture, close, and refer. Those are the 5 phases a lead goes through. So when a lead comes into your business, into your real estate investing business, phase 1 is capture. You've got to capture that lead. And so how do people do that? They do it with a phone system. It comes in to a voicemail. It comes into a Google Voice number, and it forwards to your cell phone. It comes in a variety of ways, through your website and through an opt-in form. So the first thing is this phase of capture. And you've got to automatically capture the leads from all of your marketing. The second thing is you've got to engage that lead. And what that means is that the system has to trigger something that goes back to that lead. Once they're captured, something has to immediately and automatically trigger engagement so that lead connects to your business. Because if you don't engage right away, the lead moves on. A truly motivated seller will not stop at being captured by your system and hoping that something happens. If they're truly motivated, they will call you, and if they do not get an immediate response, they will call the next guy and the next guy and the next gal, right?
Right.
So phase 2 is engage. Now phase 3 then is nurture. You've got to, once you've engaged, the best scenario out of engagement is you engage, you make an offer, they accept, you close, you profit. That's the best. But we know that that doesn't happen 90% of the time, right?
Right.
So there's a nurturing process and a follow-up process that occurs. So engage turns into nurture. Those nurtures come back. I'll give you some stats. Probably about 60 to 75% of the deals that we close on are from leads that called into our phone or voicemail system, listened to a message, and hung up. And we called them back.
Wait. 60 to 75% of your deals are from hang-ups?
From hang-ups. And most people, JP, listen to this, most people don't call the hang-ups back. They just listen to the voicemails for the person that says, hey, I've got a house on 123 Ash Street, and it really sucks, and I'm done with it, and I want to sell it at 40 cents on the dollar. They call those people back, right?
Did you say Ash Street?
Ash Street.
Oh.
So that's what most people do. So you gotta call back. So you gotta nurture those callbacks, right? Engage and then nurture. And there's a follow-up sequence that happens. After nurture comes the closing process. So once you've gotten into nurture, then you've made an offer, they've accepted through this phase. Now you get into the closing phase, and all that is managing the transaction to the title company and to the closing. The last phase is literally at or right after the closing, and it's the referral phase. And here's what the referral phase is, JP. This will be a big deal for anybody that's already closing deals. For anybody that's not closing deals yet, don't forget this. The 5th phase is the referral phase, and here's why it's so important. When you just help a seller and you buy their house and they're happy with you, do a couple of things. Get a testimonial from them written. Shoot a video with them if it's possible, and ask them if they know anybody else that has a property that they would be interested in selling. Okay? That's 3 ways in that 5th referral phase to generate more leads. You want to know a 4th little secret ninja thing that you could do with a seller?
Of course. Yes, I do.
In the referral phase, do this as well. So you get your testimonial, you get your video if you can, and you ask if they know of anybody else that might be interested in selling a house. The 4th thing that you do is you ask the seller, because you just put 20 or 50 or 90 or $180,000 into their pocket at the closing table, you ask the seller, hey John, hey Sally, what do you plan to do with that money? Because we're active real estate investors and we buy properties all the time, and a lot of times we work with people like yourselves that have some extra cash that would be interested in lending it secured against real estate, and we pay a fairly attractive return. So you can turn your seller who just got cash from you into a private lender just by building rapport and asking a question. Now,
smooth Swansonator.
Now watch this. So here's why these 5 phases of the life cycle matter. If you're going to build a system, remember our whole goal is to create this conversation to get to scale. You can't get to scale until you start to understand the components of your business. And life cycle is broken into phases, which creates a status. Now here's what I mean. inside the phase capture lead, that lead lives in a certain status. So when the lead first comes in and it's captured, the status equals new, right? It's a new lead, and the status of that lead equals new. As soon as you or somebody on your team does something with that lead, the status changes. And here's what I mean by that. If you try to call the seller back and you don't get them, you just get a voicemail, or you just can't get a hold of them, the status goes from new to called seller, no contact. Okay? So that moves from capture into the engagement phase. But now you have a status that's no longer new for that lead. No longer new. Now it's called seller, called seller, no contact. So now everybody on your team, or you, can log in and you can look at the status of your leads, and you know exactly where every lead sits. Here's why this stuff matters. So we go life cycle, phases, statuses. And with every status, there's a series of actions that have to happen next. So those are the tasks, right, that are associated with the status. Here's what's interesting, JP. People talk about build a system, and they tell you got to build a system to be successful in real estate. But what they don't do is they don't break down these things into these simple compartmental or modularized ideas, so that at the end of the day, you have one thing to manage inside your business on the lead generation side, and that is the status of your lead. Okay? If you can manage the status of your lead, and with every status there is a corresponding series of tasks that occur. When you change the status of your lead, those tasks automatically fire. And so now, when a lead comes in, you look at that lead and say, oh, I have a new lead, status equals new. Mm-hmm. And it's in the capture phase of the life cycle of a seller lead, right? You get that lead in, you pick up the phone, you call them back, you've done phase two. You've started the engagement process. So the status changes from new to called seller, left message, or called seller, no contact. Soon as you change that status, what triggers? A task to follow up with that seller later today, a task to follow up with that seller tomorrow, a task to follow up with that seller next week. So all of the tasks necessary to engage that lead automatically trigger. And you know exactly what has to happen because you know what status that lead is in. So the framework is all about recognizing the life cycle of a lead, broken into 5 phases, and then looking at the status of the different statuses in each phase and assigning the right task to that status. Now, I know I'm throwing some heavy system stuff onto this, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, because if we can fulfill on our objective to teach people how to scale their business, whether they're doing their first deal or they're doing their 1,000th deal, sometimes it's just the framework of how you see your business that helps you say, oh, there's a clear path to get where I want to go. And that's my goal here first, is to just set up this framework to say lead generation is the most important thing. So if you can wrap your head around how to systematize your lead generation and then your lead management, you are light years ahead of most real estate investors, or even most wannabe investors out there. So,
all right, let me jump in. I think that as you're talking, I am looking at some of the questions and feedback that we've gotten in the last couple of minutes, and people are asking, is it possible to see a screenshot? I can't write notes as fast as you're talking. Can we look at something besides the guy with the magnifying glass and your 2 beards? So this might be a good time to take, now that you've described the concepts from a cognitive perspective, I think it's a good time to make it visual,
Sure.
which means I think I need to turn the screen control over to you and let you show us using, in this case, we're going to use FreedomSoft. Show us what you're describing. Now, a couple of disclaimers. First of all, for those of you who joined us late, and we now have 209 people with us, so you guys keep piling on. For those of you who joined us late, our goal here is not to directly try and sell you anything, but we're going to use FreedomSoft to illustrate some of the points that we're making here about tools and ways to scale your business. If you don't use FreedomSoft, maybe you're clicked into another software, you can set it up like what you're about to see. You'll have to customize it probably, but you can set up a lot of the other common softwares that are out there probably to function very similarly. So this can still apply to you. If you want to check out FreedomSoft, I gave a link earlier for that at awesomerei.com/FreedomSoft. You can get a trial there. Public service announcement. No, we don't have a PowerPoint of this, but we're gonna do a little screen share here. Let me make you the presenter here. Let's see. Make presenter. Yes, Rob, you should get the handoff there.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay. All right. Oh, I think I'm looking at your. Screen now. All right. Let me say this. I also want to tell a short story that ties into this. I mentioned earlier I've been investing since 2000. I started wholesaling in 2002. My journey being in business in the real estate realm has involved a lot of mistakes. It's involved a lot of doing things the wrong way so that I can see how wrong it is, and then finally figuring out how to do it the right way. And it's also involved, I'll be completely honest about this, it's involved a much slower learning curve than is necessary for a lot of people when it comes to the difference between doing a real estate deal and running a real estate business. Those are not the same thing. It is a completely different skill set, building and running a business, a true business, which involves people, processes, and systems, versus doing a real estate deal. Some of you may be real estate hobbyists. Maybe you're not trying to build a business, right? And if that's you, and you just want to do like a deal here and there, then probably a lot of what we're going to look at here is overkill for you. If you just want to do like a deal every 6 months, wholesale a house every 3 months, something like that, you can do that with a yellow legal pad, right? Probably the first 2/3 of my career as a wholesaler, that's how I pretty much did business, was with like email, cell phone, and a yellow legal pad. You can definitely close deals that way. Long before the internet was created, people were closing real estate deals. However, with what's available to us today, the resources that are available to us today, you can build a business, if that's your goal, faster than ever before. The barrier of entry from ground zero to a business that's up and running, like a full business with the systems of business needs to have in place to handle your leads and your team, and cradle to closing, to have that handled in an expert business-like fashion. The barrier of entry is so much lower than it's ever been, and that excites me. It really excites me. I had to stop my real estate business and step away from it for a time and get back into it after a break in order to reset my thinking, because I don't know if some of you guys can relate to this, but when I first started wholesaling houses, I got caught in the hustle. Man, it was like I got excited to do a deal, and I would stay up late, get up early, and it was all about deal making, deal making, deal making. I'm running all over town, I'm meeting sellers, and it was fun and exciting, and I saw myself as this hustler, man, and I'm just making it happen. And then after a few years of that, I was like, holy crap, this is like the hardest job I've ever had in my entire life. I'm telling myself and I'm telling other people that I have a business. What I really have is a nightmare. Yes, I'm I'm living the real estate dream. I'm a full-time wholesaler, right? I was very respected. I'm doing deals. Like, people want to do deals with me. I'm standing up at the REI group. I'm teaching. It looks exciting, and I'm like, I don't know my kids anymore. This is not the life that I thought I was getting into. I had read the E-Myth years ago and had loved the idea of building a business, but not enough for it to sink in that there's a huge difference between what I was doing and actually building a business. So once I stepped away and then stepped back in, I said, never again. I am never again going to be a real estate hustler. It's just not for me. It's not congruent with my vision. I'm a business owner, and anything else I do, I'm going to run as a business. I don't know if this story resonates and connects with any of you guys, but for me, that was one of the most profound internal shifts that I ever went through. And when I rebooted our wholesaling business, that's exactly what I did. It runs like a business, and I run it like a CEO. Wholesaling CEO, right, Rob? That's another one of your trainings. So I just want to say, I don't know where you guys are. That's right. Connie says, I get it. Be the CEO. I don't know where you guys are in your real estate investing endeavors. I don't know what your goals are, what your aspirations are, whether you're a hobbyist or whether you're trying to build a business. But I know for a fact that if you want to run what you're doing like a business, then you need, and you would be advised to start sooner than later, to start implementing systems and processes and people that are proven, that are time-tested and proven. So, stepping off the preacher stump, that's where we're at tonight. And that's why it resonates with me so much.
Well, JP, to advance that conversation a little bit for people, because again, this isn't an agenda to sell anything. This is, if we were hanging out having a beer, what we'd be talking about, and we'd go to this. We'd be talking about the trap, right? And that is, folks, if you look at this, T stands for transactional. R stands for residual. A stands for active, and P stands for passive. Okay?
Did you make that up?
Residual, active, passive.
Did that come out of your brain?
Huh?
Did that come out of your brain?
It did.
That is amazing. I love that. Now you guys see why I have a man crush on Rob Swanson. He's talking about the trap. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So now, JP, it was a conversation that you and I had, that you were the one that said, hey, because I'm talking about transactional, residual, active, and passive, and you're saying, hey, I think that spells trap. And he goes, isn't that a typical real estate investor's trap? And so here's what I want people to get out of this, and we're going to dive in and we're going to show specifics how to do this lead generation strategy. So guys, stick with us. So transactional and active. This top row, transactional and residual, this is the frequency of how you get paid. You do something one time, and with transactional income you get paid one time. The frequency is 1. With residual income, you do something one time and the frequency is multiple. You get residual income. So this is about the frequency of payment, this top row. This bottom row is active and passive. How much effort and work do you have to put in to generate the income? So wholesaling is transactional. You do it one time, and it's active. You have to hustle. You got to work your butt off to do this. Passive income is different. Now here's the thing. Most people will interchangeably confuse residual and passive income. They're different. Mm-hmm. Residual income is the frequency. Passive income is the effort. So you can have transactional, or you can have transactional passive income, or you can have transactional active income, right? Follow me? Wholesaling is transactional active. It's TA income. And so when we start to talk about build a system, keep it simple, build a system, and let it scale, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, we get real estate investing. We get what this is all about. Guys, I've been doing this for, a decade and a half. And transactional active income says, let me put the hustle in today to generate cash so that I can take the cash from my hustle and turn it into something that is residual and passive, right? So let's turn the cash into cash flow. Then let's turn the cash flow into wealth. And here's how you do that. Once you do the hustle and you make some money, you take the money and you create a residual passive income out of that money. You do that by increasing your knowledge base. That's what we're talking about here today. And then once the residual passive income takes care of your monthly lifestyle expenses, you then jump back into a little bit of the hustle and you build wealth, right? At first, the hustle is just to make some money so that you can create the passive residual income and generate lifestyle. Once the lifestyle is taken care of, then you turn the hustle back on and you go build wealth. Okay? So this cycle of hustle, lay back, hustle is, I mean, it's a natural evolution of being a successful entrepreneur. And so the reason I showed you that is because if you understand the purpose of real estate investing, depending on where you're at, if you're starting with zero cash, zero credit, zero whatever, it's hustle to get cash, create residual passive income, and then hustle to build wealth. You might be starting in a different phase, but all of that said, the goal is to take this hustle and systematize it as much as possible so the hustle is less painful. Okay? That's why I bought FreedomSoft. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I bought FreedomSoft because I saw. Let me ask you this, JP. Can I say this? Can I say that I bought FreedomSoft not because I thought FreedomSoft at the time I bought it was an awesome software product? I thought here's what I thought. I thought it had a great brand. I thought it had a good user base, and I thought it had great bones. Mm-hmm. And I believed that I had the insight into how a real estate investor can create success in their world to take the bones, rebuild it, and give people the tools and the systemized approach to their business that would force them towards success. I'm not saying it creates success automatically, but it forces people towards success. And so we rebuilt 70+% of FreedomSoft over the last 15 months. So if somebody saw FreedomSoft even 5 or 6 months ago and looked at it today, they would be like, "Holy cow! What is this?" A whole
different. It's like what it was 10x, and that's just my assessment.
Exactly. And so the goal of any software system is to take this transactional active effort that you're going to do, wholesaling, fix and flip, anything that's transactional and active, and systematize it so that the hustle, the pain, the effort becomes significantly less. Because if we go back to scale, what is the definition of scale? It's a significant increase in output with little to no increase in input. And that's what software and systems allow people to do. So here's what we did, JP, with FreedomSoft. We recreated the entire structure so that somebody that's brand new to the business can use the tool and basically move from left to right, top to bottom. And I'll kind of demonstrate this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But the whole idea is to make it simple. We read in Western U.S. culture, we read from left to right, from top to bottom. So it's how we naturally move as we look at a software system. So in FreedomSoft, and I think you guys can see my screen, right, JP? So it starts with marketing, because you got to have something that goes out to pull and generate leads in. Mm-hmm. It moves across into the lead management system. Leads go under contract and they create your property pipeline where you decide, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to wholesale it? Am I going to fix and flip it? Am I going to buy and hold? What am I going to do? Moves into the Rehabber's GPS, which is our built-in project management system. Mm-hmm. And that manages this life cycle of a lead thing that we're talking about. And so let's go over here and let me just show you a strategy. And JP, feel free to jump in and ask any questions. But what I want to do is I want to just show a practical strategy that anybody could walk out and use today in their business. And I'll show it to them live in FreedomSoft.
Let me make sure everybody knows this is we're now on Rob's screen. We're going to visually walk through a lot of the concepts that we've been talking about. So if you've been, I don't know, off playing the Pokemon or whatever, then come back and look at your screen and follow along, and this is going to start to congeal.
Hey, man. Okay. My 13, almost 14-year-old son would say it's not Pokemon, it's Pokemon.
Oh, I know. I totally patronized my 14-year-old by calling it the Pokemon.
I know. Oh man, it's all good. It's funny. So here, let's. Should we just do it, JP? Should I just show a strategy here?
Yes, I'm in.
All right. So guys, generating dozens of leads a day for very inexpensive. In fact, JP decided to promote this training around the fact that the lead generation was going to cost $2 a lead, because I told him I'm going to show people how to do it for free. Well, he thought that $2 sounded more realistic than free, so here we are. I'm going to show you how to do it for free and not spend $2, and then I'll show you how to spend $2 and do the same thing. Here's what it's going to start with. It's going to start with Craigslist, and just so you guys know, I've got the sun setting towards the Rocky Mountains over here, and so I'm getting a little bit of sun on my face, and so if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me. I'm not going to try to move around it, okay?
It's a beautiful glow on me, my friend.
That's right. So here's what I did, guys. I went to Craigslist.org, and I'm going to show you how to do this in two different ways. I went to Craigslist.org, and we're going to build a list of landlords. Okay, we're going to build a list of landlords that we can buy houses from. Okay, we all know that some of the best deals out there are vacant house leads, right? Well, what causes a lot of houses to go vacant? A tenant moves out, right? And so now the landlord is stuck with this vacant house. Maybe the tenants trashed the place. Maybe the landlord had to go through a lengthy eviction process. Maybe they had to sit there on tenants that squatted the place for 9 months because of a bankruptcy. How do you think I know about these things? You know, there's things that create motivation in a landlord that give us the ability to buy a great deal. And so what I want you to do is I want you to go to Craigslist.org. I want you to go to your city area. I want you to go to housing, and then I want you to go apartments for rent. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to make sure that this little notch right here is set to newest, and then you're going to come down here and you're going to click this little plus next to housing, and you're going to select house right there. And then you're going to update your search. Now, you could put some additional filters and you could do some different things inside this strategy as well. But here's what I want you to get. I want you to understand that you can come here and then you can click on, let's say that this was one that we wanted to go after. Let's go to this one over here. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sort this by, let's see. Do I want to sort? No, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it all as is. And so let's take this one. This one's pretty ugly. It says updated flex lease, but let's click on this, and we can come right down into the listing, and we can find this one happens to be listed by a broker, probably a property manager. And I would have either you or your virtual assistant look through this listing and find the person's phone number or their email address. And one of the ways you can do that is you can click on this reply right here. And there's an email address that you can use to contact these people. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go through these list by list, every single one of them. Okay? And I want you to click here.
So we're going through all the houses for rent in your area and gathering the contact information, basically.
Yep, this is the same property manager. That's exactly right. And so you can filter this down, and you can target, you know, miles from a certain zip code, or you could put in a price range. You could put in rent, you know, a rent range, those kind of things. Let's see, did I click? Yeah, houses for rent. So we're going to keep going. So these are, what is a house that's for rent? it's vacant, right?
Hopefully.
So the first step I want you to do is I want you to go build a list of 100 phone numbers using this strategy. I'm not going to do it. You guys can figure that out. You can go build a list of 100 phone numbers that are landlords that have a house for rent in the areas that you want to target. Then we're going to do this. Then you're going to come back, and if you're using FreedomSoft, you're going to come back and you're going to create a FreedomSoft lead campaign. Now watch this. I'm going to create a new lead campaign. I'm going to click this, and it's going to pop up, and I'm going to say, I'll just call this Denver for rent first 100, okay? Because I'm just telling you, go create a list of 100 phone numbers.
Okay.
We're going to target. We're going to say that this is a manual campaign, and we're going to target sellers. You could target buyers or sellers, and we're going to create a lead campaign. Now, watch this. What we're going to do is we're going to link a phone number inside FreedomSoft so that you can send those 100 people a text message and generate leads. Guys, I just picked up 5 properties. Get this, 5 properties, 3 duplexes, and 2 single-family houses from one out-of-state seller using exactly what I'm teaching you right now. Okay? I bought 2 houses and 3 duplexes, phenomenal cash flow using this exact strategy. Okay, I'm going to pull up another tab over here on the side so that I can grab a phone number and show this to you guys, JP. So while I do that.
So the phone number would be, assuming in this situation, assuming that there is a phone number included in the Craigslist ad from the landlord or the property management company, and that it's a cell phone.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's right. And so I want you to go through the process and find your first 100. Right. Mm-hmm. So don't stop until you find your first 100. I'm not here to sit and figure that all out. Like here, show contact info. I can probably click that, and there I would be grabbing that phone number, right. and that would be one of my 100. Okay?
Yep, I'm with you.
Cool. All right. So here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to go into FreedomSoft, and I'm going to go over here to my settings, and watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to numbers, my phone numbers, because JP, we want to track when we send out these 100 text messages. We want all of those replies to come back right to our FreedomSoft account, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click Add Number, and I'm going to say, let's get a 303 number. And what's an easy number to use here? What looks good? Right here. How about this one right here? We'll just pick this. 974-4516
numbers that you can basically add to your account and use as if they're yours. Local phone numbers for any area.
Yeah, so I could go back and I could put in any zip code, or any area code. Let's say I was in I don't know, Cincinnati 513. Local phone numbers. So these are all tracking numbers built into FreedomSoft. And so
you basically built a version of Vumber into FreedomSoft. Is that what I'm seeing here? For those of you who are familiar with Vumber.
Yeah, exactly, but even more powerful because it's all integrated in, right?
Yeah. No, the way that our business predates FreedomSoft, right? For anyone who hadn't figured that out, so our business is not tied in to some of these features, and we've been using separate features for a lot of these, or separate services, rather, for a lot of these. I did not know that you had tied a service like this in directly into FreedomSoft. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so watch this because it even gets better. Watch this. I'm just going to add this one to my account. So guys, listen, here's the thing. If you're using any outside third-party phone system, we don't charge more than anybody else. We're basically passing the cost through because our goal is not to make a bunch of money on phone numbers. There are direct costs to having these phone numbers, and so we are the same price as just about everybody else out there. So you can add a phone number to your account, just like I'm doing right here. So it's going to process my card, and I'm going to show you guys the setup. Now check this out, JP. So now I come right here, and here's the number that I just added to my account, and I'm going to call this Denver for rent first 100, just because I remember what campaign that I'm going to link it to, right?
Right.
Now, I'm going to not upload a custom message. I'm going to record a message in line. Watch this. I click the record button, and I'm going to do this. Hey, this is Rob, and thank you for calling me back. If you're calling back because you recently received a message that I'm interested in buying a property in your area, would you do me a favor and leave me a phone number and your name and the best time to call you back, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks. So we now have our phone message done.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's super simple. So I could set up call forwarding. I could set up notifications if I want to send an email. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to set up this text auto reply, because here's where systems and automation start to come in. And I'm going to do this. Hey, I hey, I saw your text. I'll call you back shortly. Rob. Okay, now if they call, so this is an automated reply that's going to go back if somebody sends a text message to this phone number. Okay, guys, as soon as, this is a live training, as soon as I click save and done with this, you guys could start texting this number and you're going to get this reply back. So mess with me if you want, 303-974-4510. Okay, and then I'm going to put this, hey, I missed your call. I'll call you back shortly, Rob. Now I'm going to save changes.
You guys should test it out right now. Go ahead, inundate him with text messages.
Yeah, it would actually be pretty cool. So hey, actually somebody do that, because I'm going to see your new leads come in and I want to show you guys how this works. Okay, so somebody start.
Show them the number one more time. Where is it on the screen here?
Yeah, so watch. I'm going to go back to my lead campaigns. Here's my Denver for rent first 100, and watch how simple this is, JP. I'm going to link this number to this campaign. Boom. It's now linked. This is one of the things that we call Lead Central. So your business lives around this hub of your lead campaigns, and I just linked my phone number to this campaign. So if people start texting 303-974-4510, I'm going to capture these leads right here, and I'm going to be able to go back and forth with you and show you guys this live. So it would be actually pretty cool. Yeah, right. Look at that. We got 11 leads already. That is awesome. Okay. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. So guys, do you realize that simply by me creating this free campaign, by associating the number, I'm now generating leads, okay, for my business. So what I would normally do is this. I would come over here and I would click, if I was in lead generation mode, this is what I would do. And I'm going to grab a phone number here from another system that I can put in, just so that I can do new SMS. Watch this, guys. Here's how I would do it. Here's how you're going to do this when you copy this strategy. I'm going to send it to 317-755-0240. Now watch this. Hey, I saw your ad on Craigslist, and I like to say your rental ad on Craigslist. You wouldn't be interested in selling, would you? Okay, who are we sending this to, guys? We're sending this to a landlord that has a vacant house for rent. And I'm going to click send. Okay, now, if I do that 100 times, I get to view my history right here. I can see all of my history. Now, I'm going to assume, okay, we've got 11 leads when I checked it. Hey, we got 30 now. Watch this. Hey, I'm going to assume that this person, I don't know who this is, but they sent the lead to me, so I'm going to assume that it's okay for me to text them back. I'm going to say 556-6987. Watch this, JP. New message and 830. Hey, if this is your phone number and you're about to get this, be cool and reply back to me so everybody can see how this works, okay? 6987. Hey, I should have copied this. Saw your rental ad on Craigslist. You wouldn't be interested in selling, would you? Question mark. Okay, I'm going to send this 830. I just sent you a message. Let's see if you got it. So if you got it on your cell phone, if you got it, reply back to me and say yes or no. Now look at this, guys. So I'm getting these leads back in exactly like would happen if you send out 100 messages to landlords. You're going to get replies back. Okay, so let's go see if the 830. Okay, right here, 830-556-6987. Look I got all these new lead notifications that I got to work now.
He said absolutely for 1 million.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So here, look, check it out, guys. I just went ahead and clicked on that new lead that came in, the one that I just sent right there, and it shows me the entire communication string between all of these parties, right? So now I know exactly, hey, I saw your text, I'll call you back shortly. You got this auto reply, and then I sent you this one to demonstrate it, and you reply back. So now I've got the entire email chain going right here. Pretty cool. Now, JP, check this out. So you send out your text messages, you get all these replies back, and they're all organized. Watch this. Go back to my lead campaign. They're all organized right here. I can click on view all of my leads, and here's all of my new leads that I get to work. I got 33 of them just like that. Now let's go back to our campaign, because I can click on my history and see, hey, there's that 830 number, and look, they replied. Okay, if I had 100 that go out and 33 reply, I can go click on the replies and it goes straight to the message system, and I know exactly what's going on. And then inside the system, JP, you'll dig this. I'm going to make another assumption, and I'm going to assume that this person is okay with me actually calling them. And I'm going to click their phone number right here, and you don't have to answer, but I'm going to call you. And I'm going to call you from my Denver for rent vacant for rent first 100 phone number, and I'm going to click call. And now right inside FreedomSoft, I'm calling that lead.
Answer, whoever you are, answer. Let's do it.
This is Jack.
Hey Jack, what's happening down in Seguin, Texas?
Jack, what's up?
Make $1 million, I hope.
Man, I love it. I totally love it. Well, if you've got a $2 million house, I will absolutely pay you $1 million for it.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Jack, thanks for being a great sport. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right. Guys, check that out. So you didn't have to go set anything else up. It was all tracked right here. Now watch this. As soon as I refresh the page, it shows me that there was an outbound call from this number to the seller's number, and the call lasted 34 seconds. You now have a complete tracking. Yeah, jump in, man.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
I was just going to say you now have a complete tracking of all of this. And guys, how long did it take me to set it up? I created a lead campaign in like 15 seconds. I added a phone number and I named it, and I recorded the voicemail in like 30 seconds. So in under a minute, I created the entire lead management and capture system inside FreedomSoft.
Okay, something else I need to make sure we shine a spotlight on here, that is the beautiful undercurrent of this whole thing. Some of you are like me, you're watching this and going, oh man, this makes me feel squishy inside. It's so cool how this, how to make it work and how it functions. Here's the real beauty though underneath it, is that you don't have to do any of this. Everything we've done so far is so entirely capable of being done by somebody else. My 14-year-old daughter could do this.
Totally.
Everything we've done, my 14-year-old daughter could do, which would allow me to leverage the tool and the system built inside the tool to focus on my highest point of leverage as the CEO of the company.
Yep.
And we're not even going to have a time to get into the conversation, the whole what is your highest point of contribution in your company. It's not the same for everyone. But once you figure out what your highest points of contribution are, you are frankly not being a good steward of your company when you let yourself get into doing things that aren't that. So what we're seeing here is a phenomenal system. It's a phenomenal tool. I think it's absolutely one of the most impressive, frankly, robust ways that I've seen this whole process handled before. But it's not something you have to do. It's something you need to understand how to do and have somebody else do. Rob, I have a couple of clarifying questions.
Yes, sir.
Jesse asked a pretty good question here I want to go ahead and drop in. Do you send out these messages that you just showed? Does it have to be done one at a time, or can you send it out to like the whole 100 at one time? Or is it 100 individual messages to your 100 list from Craigslist that you made?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and let me caveat it by saying this: I'm not a lawyer, and so I can't give you legal advice, and you're asking a question that requires sort of legal interpretation because this really gets down to the TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and the way we built it is to help our users be what we feel is TCPA compliant, and that is sending one at a time. And the reason we send one at a time is because the minute you get into what's called robocalls or automated blast text, you start to cross some dark gray lines. And so we have set it up where you do it one at a time because we believe it keeps you safer. So I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but it's what we've done.
That's the answer. So the second question I have is, if let's say you launch a campaign of 100 here, that's 100 text messages that you send out, and maybe you do it all in one day, right? And then the next day, maybe you start other text messages through the system, and before you know it, it can get there can be a lot of information flowing around on any given day. I don't want to take us too far off track because we still have a lot to cover, and we want to try and probably hit a lightning round to get through the rest of it in terms of what you're going to show us this can do as a system. But is there like some kind of a I don't know if you call it an inbox or a queue, like a master inbox or some kind of notification that says, like on any given day, here's all the replies you've received that you need to respond to all in one place so you don't have to hop from campaign to campaign to campaign.
Yeah, so absolutely. So here we are inside the Denver For Rent first 100 leads, right? So these are just leads in this campaign. If we go back and we go to this all seller leads, you can see all leads from all campaigns on one nice dashboard view. Now, we've got 40-some here that are just from this, and so here we go. Here's down to Cincinnati rental landlords. And so here's where people on this live call started texting in. So yeah, we've got that. And let me show you something, and I'm just going to go back here, JP, because organization is the key to this whole thing, right? And so you want to click into any of these leads. You get all these leads in, and you want to follow up on them. And so guys, I want you to see here. This is your dashboard. And so let's say that we've got this one, owner of record, and let's say that it's Mary Jones. And her spouse's name is Roger, and their motivation is hot, and the lead status is new, but I want to change that lead status to something else, right? A follow-up or under contract or called seller, no contact, right? So now I just changed my lead status, and it's occupancy. Let's say that it is absentee owned and vacant. And I can come down here and I can put all of this stuff, I can track all of this stuff on my lead dashboard, and I can say, hey, here's one, I want to mark this as green so that it's easy to find, and I'm going to go back to my let's say I just went through and I set this up in JP, now it's tomorrow. And I'm like, what was that one that I wanted to follow up on? I can go here to my advanced search, and I can search by status, called seller, no contact. I can search that, and there's that one that we just were working on.
Oh, that's great.
Right there. So,
Yeah.
and this goes back to what I was saying about the life cycle of a lead, the phases of where the life cycle lives, the 5 phases, and then the statuses inside those phases, right? So this first status is called seller, no contact. When I do that, when I change the status from new to called seller, no contact, I know the tasks that have to happen next that are associated with that status, and they automatically trigger. Okay? So is that making sense, like how we've tried to organize FreedomSoft from a CRM standpoint, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely logical and linear. I mean, as linear as this kind of thing can be and should
Right.
be, that's what you've done in the revamp here, and I can completely see it.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so what's next? What would be the next step to?
Well, yeah, so now you've generated leads, and I've shown you guys a great strategy to get leads coming into your business. And here's the thing, if you guys use this strategy, two things. If you will follow up on the leads, you're going to do a deal. I don't know how fast you're going to do a deal because I don't know your skill sets. I don't know where you're at. We do this every day in our business, and we do deals out of this all the time. Number 2, you've got to stay organized with it, because if you try to launch this strategy on a piece of paper, it'll never work, because you will get overwhelmed by leads. You'll get overwhelmed by what do I have to do? How do I follow up? But if you will follow up, this will really help your business. Now, what I want to do then is I want to take this and I want to show you, okay, now that we reached out to Mary Jones and we found out, okay, Mary Jones, her address, and I'm just going to put in a street address here in Denver, and I'm going to show you guys this, what I would do next, how to work this. Let's see, Denver, Colorado. Get rid of the zip code. Save lead. So now we've had some interaction with our seller, Mary Jones, and she's interested in selling. So I want to learn a little bit more about this property, and here's what we know about it so far. The situation is evicted tenants. I don't know how to spell tenants. Evicted tenants, trashed house, out-of-state owner, sick of it. Okay, there's the situation. So we want to know now, based on her description that they trashed the place, there's 3 numbers we got to get. We've got to get the comps. So what's the house worth? We've got to get the estimated repair cost for this property. And we've got to run a deal analysis to say, how much could I offer Mary so that it works for her, so that it works for me, and maybe she'll accept my offer. And if she accepts my offer, that means it works for her. Okay? My job is not to make an offer that works for her necessarily. My job is to make an offer that solves her problem. And if it solves her problem and works for me and she accepts my offer, it works for her. Now, the best investors figure out how to solve problems in that process. But let's do this. Let's come down here to comps. We're going to click on the comps in FreedomSoft, and it's going to pop up the subject property. I can zoom in, and I can see I've got nearby properties right here. So guys, we know that this house is a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,500 square feet, right? 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,500 square feet. So let's come down here and let's look at close properties that are close, that are similar. There's a 5.2. And notice as I check these off on the left, it's going to put them up into your comps. And I'm going to just kind of click down on these, and I'm not going to try to build this. I'm just going to show you guys, right? and every one that I selected turned blue. So here's the properties that are the closest to my subject. And here's what I'm talking about. Let me click on the street view. You guys can see it. Here's the house I'm talking about. It's this nice little ranch house. And I'm using this one because I used to own this house. I owned this house for about 8 years as a rental. Let's go back and let's go ahead. And so now you've gone through and you said, okay, I'm going to build my comps, and the house is worth $351,000. So here's what I want to do. I want to save my estimate. I want to save this right to my attachments for this house. So I click Save to Attachments. Now watch this, guys. I know it's a 5/2/2489. So I'm going to go back to my lead details, and I'm going to come right down below this, and I'm going to put in my details. And I'm going to put in a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,489 square feet, and I'm going to click Save. Now, if I click on the attachments, guys, remember what I just did? I saved my comps. So now you've got your comps saved right to the attachments. So if your team logs in, if your husband or wife logs in later and you've just done some work on some leads, it's all right there, all of the work that you've done. So now we know the value. Let's go figure out how much is it going to cost to fix this house up if it's trashed, right? So inside FreedomSoft, we built something that's called the Rehabber's GPS. And I've rehabbed hundreds and hundreds of houses. So I'm not even going to tell you the math that goes behind what I'm about to show you. Just know that the math is doing serious calculations like how many 2x4s, how many sheets of drywall, how many gallons of paint, how many labor man-hours does this stuff require. But I'm going to do it all in like 20 seconds. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to
pause 1 second. I see one person saying we can't see the screen. 2 people saying that actually. I just want to see if you're out there and you can see the screen. Will you say something? I want to make sure it's okay. Yeah, several people are seeing it fine. Okay, yeah, most people still see it. Okay, stop. Thank you. If you can't see it, will you say something, please? Lots and lots of people can see it. No more comments if you can see it. If you can't see it. Okay, so it looks like we have 2 people who can't see it, and everybody else can. So sorry about that. My recommendation would be for those of you, if the screen just went blank, it's probably the webinar just kind of glitching. Maybe hop out and back in. You could just use the same link from the email and basically reconnect, and that should reboot the video. Sorry about that, Rob. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have a system-wide issue there. All right,
yeah,
thank you.
It's all good. It's all good. No worries. So guys, here's what we're doing. We're working inside this lead record, right? So everything is being tracked, super organized right inside it. If you don't have years of experience as a contractor or as a rehabber, here's a great way to get the numbers you need to analyze any property. And what I'm showing you here is included in every FreedomSoft account. So you guys could sign up on this today and have access to this stuff. So watch this. We know the house is a ranch, right, JP, because we saw the picture. It was 2,489 square feet. Let's go ahead and say that the finished square feet was 1,900. And that's going to assume that there's a basement unfinished. And I want to show you something in a minute. So let's say that the unfinished basement is 800 square feet. Okay, so we got 1,900 finished. We've got an 800 square foot basement, so part of the basement is finished, part of it's unfinished. 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath. There was a 1-car attached garage. Let's say that the roof needs to be repaired, and let's build a 5% contingency because we know that Murphy happens, right? Now, this is very scientific, and this is the condition of the property in the existing state. It's either a total beater, it's livable but needs work, or it's livable and clean. Now, let's say that because it was just rented, and usually when tenants trash a house, it needs to be cleaned up and fixed up, but it's not like a bank-owned, completely trashed out place typically, right? So let's call it livable and needs work. So here's the existing property. Can you guys all figure out how to fill that in, what I've done so far? Probably. So now let's say after repairs.
Hang on, I've got half a dozen people saying where do they go for this. I just want to reiterate what I said earlier. If you are, just write this down if you would, and then we're going to continue. AwesomeREI.com/FreedomSoft will take you to it, and there's a 7-day free trial. You can find it, probably if you Google it as well. But AwesomeREI.com/FreedomSoft, and you can check out the trial there. Is it a 7-day or was it 14-day trial?
14-day free trial.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. Please continue.
Yeah, no worries. So guys, now what we've done is we've got our property after repairs. So step 1 is what's the existing property. Step 2 is what's the property after repairs. Okay? And so we put in the same stuff and we come down here and finished quality. It's either economy, so lower end, it's average, or it's luxury. We'll just leave this as luxury based on what we saw in the neighborhood and the street. And watch this, guys. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a housing market adjustment. We're going to adjust this to Colorado, and we know that this particular house was in the Denver metro area. And I'm going to click Create Estimate. Just like that, I've created both a rental grade and a fix and flip grade complete repair cost estimate across over 22 different project categories. It gave you a rental fix-up of $18,655.58 and a fix and flip fix-up of $43,642.06. Now, watch this. This is pretty cool. I can click this and I can save that estimate right to my attachments. So now, if I go back to my attachments, what do I have? I've got my comps and I've got my repair cost estimate. Listen, guys, when you are negotiating with a seller, particularly a landlord, like the strategy I just taught you, when you can come to the table and say, hey, I've run all my math, I've run all my numbers, I know why I can offer you what I can offer you, there's justification behind the offer, man, your credibility and your success rate just goes straight up. And so now we've got our repair cost and our comps. Let's do something else. I go back to my rehab estimator dashboard that's tied right to this lead that I'm working, and I can see that this is 525 Everett Rehab existing house. Well, guys, what if you wanted to finish the basement? Let's duplicate the estimate. Let's click on it. Let's go rerun the estimate, and let's say finish basement. Okay? 2,489 total square feet. Let's change the property after repairs finished square feet to 2,489. And when I do that, I come down here and I save estimate, and it reruns all of my math on the entire house and says, let's finish the basement. And I just got a new fix and flip and rental grade complete rehab. So if we look at our dashboard, now I have just rehab existing house or rehab existing house and then finish the basement, and I can see the difference in cost to do those different things. I'm going to show you one more pretty cool ninja thing. And you can build all sorts of scenarios, but if I go back in here again, JP, do one more time, and I'll go back to rerun the estimate. Oops, actually what I want to do is I want to duplicate it first, duplicate the estimate, then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to rerun the estimate. And now I'm going to say finish the basement, add bed plus bath. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say I'm going to add a bedroom and I'm going to add a bathroom. And then I'm going to save the estimate. And it just ran all of the math to finish the basement and add a bedroom and a bathroom in the basement. Now you've built out scenarios to give you the numbers to actually run and say, do I have a deal or not? Now, what are we going to do with this? We're going to take our repair cost, we're going to take our comps, and we're going to go right here on this lead details, and we're going to run our deal analyzer. Now, JP, you pick. Do we want to run this deal as a fix and flip or a buy and hold?
Fix and flip, man. I don't hold properties.
All right, fix and flip. Click right there. So we're going to run our fix and flip deal analyzer, and we're going to say that we're going to buy it on this day, and we're going to purchase. Let's just put in a purchase price of, say, $195. Okay. And how do we want to pay for this? Do we want to pay cash or do we want to finance it?
Cash.
We want to pay cash. And what was our fix-up cost? Our fix-up cost when we finished the basement on a fix and flip was like $43,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to pay cash for that. And why don't we do this, JP? Let's finance it, assuming that we're going to use private money.
Okay.
And so we're going to borrow private money for the purchase price. We're going to borrow private money for the fix-up. Let's say our closing costs are $2,500. We're going to borrow private money for that. Say our taxes are $1,450 a year, and our insurance for this project is $750 per project. And we'll go ahead and we'll pay cash for those two things. Utilities, let's say that we're at $75 a month, and we'll go ahead, let's roll that into our private money because I'd rather have the private lender fund it than me.
Mm-hmm.
And let's come down here, and let's say, what kind of a down payment are we going to put in on this thing? Well, we're going to put 0 because we're going to borrow 100% from our private lender. It's the only way we do business. And let's say that we're going to pay our private lender 9%, and we're going to defer their payments to the end. Okay? And we're going to pay them 0 points because we know how to go find good private money. That's just how we do it. We're going to come down here. We're not going to borrow any money on a second. This is just our first loan private lender. We're going to come down here and we're going to say, what's the estimated sale date? Well, let's say that this project's going to take us a few months. So we'll just kick it out a ways. And what was our after repaired value? Well, it was $351,000, right? 6% commission to an agent to sell it. Closing costs when we sell it, let's say it's $3,000. Seller concessions, let's put 0 in today's financing world, and let's run our analyzer. And it spits out all of our math and tells us if we paid $195,000 and put in $43,500 and borrowed private money and did it over a, let's see, 91-day period of time, we made $80,000 on that deal. That's our net profit. Cash on cash return and our annual ROI. Now, I can save this, 525 Everett, and this was finish, basement, fix, and flip. I save my analysis, and it drops it right onto my dashboard. So now I have a complete record of my lead generation, my communication history, my comps, my repair cost estimate, my deal analysis for fix and flip, for buy and hold, and I can play with all these scenarios to come up with something that works, right? I never wonder what are my numbers because they're right here. Now here's what's really cool for you wholesalers out there. If you're saying right now you're just in the deal analysis mode, you're saying, man, should I do this deal or not? Well, look at this. You can come right down here to your buyer matching tool, and you can click buyer match. And if I had buyers loaded up into this particular account that were matching on the matching the criteria, when I click on that lead and when I click on that buyer match, it's going to put all of your buyers right there that are a perfect match. See? So when I click buyer match right now, it says this property has no matches. That's because the 6 buyers I have loaded up in this demo account aren't matching in on the zip code. Does that make sense? But it's super, super powerful to say, whoa, I don't know if I want to do this deal because I'm not sure if I have buyers in the area. Or, boom, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask for the wholesalers on the buyer matching, is the criteria zip code or is it possibly other criteria that it would match it on as well?
Yeah, so let's go over here, and let's see. So here, there's a couple things like this buyer. We could put all of their relevant details in here, and here's where the buyer matching starts to match up. So I can target this buyer wants to buy in Colorado. they want to buy in either all counties, or I can select specific counties. Like I could say, okay, they want to buy in Adams County, they want to buy in Denver County.
Okay.
Oops, I gotta pick Colorado and Denver County. So let's go down here. So I can build out my specific criteria, and then I can put in zip codes. So if I take this zip code out of here, we should match up. Let's go see.
Yeah, because it filters top down, right? So if you have a county, or if you have a state but no counties or nothing else, then anything in that state they're going to show as a match for, right?
Yeah, I'd have to set up my. I probably have a filter set on this because I was doing some other demo. I'm not sure what the filter is that I might have set, but the point is, if you set your buyers up right, and they're targeting the same areas that you're going after, when your leads come in, they match up. And they can match up on state, they can match up on county, they can match up on construction type, single family, multifamily, they can match up on bedrooms, bathrooms. All of the different criteria can match up.
All right, let me pause you for a second. I want to get to some questions, and we're pretty deep in. I want to we got some good questions already here, and I think we have some people chomping at the bit. So
cool.
Could I ask you to, as we've been working through it, let's pull up a couple of levels and have you just kind of hit the highlights of the rest of the track that exists, the life flow of a lead, or what do you call it?
The life cycle of a lead?
Yeah, just so they can get kind of the full picture from above. And then I want to open up for questions, and I'm going to start, when we get to the questions, just so that they know, I'm going to start with Connie and Antoinette. I see your questions about the contractor cost, so we'll start with you guys when we get to that point. And this would be a good time for you guys to go ahead and start dropping your questions into the queue, and we'll fit as many of them in as we can. So go ahead. All right, Rob, it's to you.
Okay, let me... Am I supposed to see questions over here?
No. We're not going to the questions yet. First, you're going to finish the highlights of the systems. I'll ask you the questions.
Okay, sorry. I thought we were highlighting the system through the questions. Not a problem. Okay, so guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this lead, and I'm going to go and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to go put in their mailing address, right? Mary Jones' mailing address, and I'm going to build all of this so that I can come down here and watch this. I'm going to make her a cash offer. This is how we do it. I'm going to make her a cash offer, and I'm going to make her an offer of $205,000 cash. I'm going to offer $1,000 earnest money. I'm going to offer her $204 cash at closing, right? My full price minus my earnest money is the cash at closing. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this stuff all blank. That should be all I need. And watch this. I'm going to click Save. And then I'm going to do this, JP. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to say Generate Document. And I'm going to say I've got a cash offer purchase agreement with my seller. So what did I do? I worked the lead on my details page. I click Make a Cash Offer Purchase Agreement. I click Next Step. It automatically fills in all of my stuff. Right? I click Next. I preview my document. It's all filled out exactly how I want it, including my signature right here. I'll move that exactly where I want it. I click Complete, and it generates my contract. And now I have my comps, I have my rehab costs, and I have my cash purchase offer with a few clicks. Now, it just generated it, so I could simply email this to the seller right now just by clicking email, and it'll pop up and it'll ask me to, I can edit this, and it attaches my purchase agreement right to the email, and I can send it straight to the seller. And guess what? All of that communication history, sending it out, getting it back, it's all tracked right on your dashboard.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
It's like the point of this, JP, is if we go back to the big picture, it's all about systematizing and taking the work out of hustle. right? And that's what I'm hoping people like get. So here's what we did. Now, Mary accepted our offer. She sent it back to us. We've got it here, and we're under contract. So what do? We go over here and met seller, offer accepted. Let's change our status, and watch this. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to move this from a lead. I'm now under contract. I'm going to say convert to property, because now I'm building my property pipeline, and I'm going to say, am I going to wholesale it? Am I going to buy it? Am I going to fix and flip it? Am I going to buy and hold and rent it? What am I going to do? So I'm going to convert this to a property, and it moves me right onto the properties tab. Now I have separation from all of my leads and the actual properties that I'm deciding what I'm going to do with.
So
and
basically,
you'll
once
notice,
you have a contract, it becomes a property, not a lead.
you know, that is how I do it. I'm demonstrating what I think are best practices to stay organized. We have a lot of users that do it different ways. I tend to like, once it goes under contract, I move it into the properties tab, and then I decide, what am I going to do with this? That's how I approach it.
Okay.
So now we decide, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to wholesale it? You know, all of the different things. So I can take, once I move it into my properties tab, JP, I can then take this property and all of the details here, and I can syndicate it out to my website. I can syndicate it out online for marketing. I can do an email broadcast to all of my buyers right here. It pops up my composed broadcast message, and I can pick all of my confirmed buyers. And look at this, guys. You can say, only send to the confirmed buyers that want to buy in the specific zip code that this property is in. Or we can confirm and we can send it to all buyers, right?
That's
so
beautiful.
you can send it to the specific people that you want. Type in your subject, type in your information. Right over here, then, you can attach. Do you want to attach your comps? Do you want to attach your repair estimate? Do you want to attach your deal analysis sheet straight to your buyers and give them the tools to make better decisions faster? It's all right here. Type it up, click send, and it's out the door. Guess what happens then? Your buyers receive it, and when they start to reply back, it's all tracked right here. It's going to notify you when a buyer says, yeah, I'm interested, and in the entire transaction history with your buyers is going to be right there. That's it, man.
Do you have the ability within FreedomSoft at this point to send text messages to your buyers about a lead?
Yes, sir. We go right here to our marketing tab. We go down to SMS broadcast. We say compose message. We pick our confirmed buyers. We pick the number. Let me go over here, and I'm going to unlock one of these numbers so that I can show you. Oops, actually I got to do it in my lead campaign. Let's see. All of the numbers on this account right now are taken up by a campaign, so let me just go none, and then
So
when
you
I
have
go
to have
back here,
Basically, you'd want to have a number included in your account that you've reserved, that you've rented, basically, that is maybe reserved just for text messaging out, right?
just for your broadcast text messaging, that's exactly right. And so now there's that number. I would type up my message and I would click send broadcast, and I can go out to all my buyers.
So I could send, now I do this already, but again, I have to use third-party software to do this. So I just want to make sure I understand. So I have a property in 38125. I could go in, if I have all my cash buyers in here, and I've told FreedomSoft which ones have told me that they're interested. See Melita's message there. I've told FreedomSoft that here's all the cash buyers who want 38125. I could then use FreedomSoft to send a text blast to the group of buyers at one time who are interested in that zip code according to what I've input into FreedomSoft. So you don't send a group text to marketing leads for sellers, those are one at a time, but it sounds like you can send a group text to your cash buyers. Am I hearing that correctly, or no?
We still have, we built a hybrid broadcast system. So it does queue them up, and you have to click the button, because that, we feel that keeps our users TCPA compliant.
Okay.
So look,
but it's not copy and it's not like open screen copy paste send. Open screen copy.
No. Let me show you. Let me show you here. So check out this hot deal. Insert link here, right? And I'm going to send broadcast, and it's going to put my buyers that match what I want to send right there, and I'm going to click send SMS. And if there were multiple, let me go back. Can I select compose? Because I only have the one guy with a phone number in there. So it would just put send message, send message, send message next to it, and you just click it. Rapid fire click. Here's the thing, guys. If you send blast text messages and you violate the TCPA, it's $1,500 per day per violation. Okay? So send 100 texts in violation for 3 days. It adds up really fast. It's called bankruptcy. And
lifetime bankruptcy is what it's
right.
called.
And we believe that real estate investors are going to get, there's going to be some that are made an example of. And so what we're trying to do, I've been around this business long enough, we're trying to use our legal team to give us guidance on how we can help keep our users as safe as possible. And if that means it takes an extra 3.5 minutes to get that broadcast text message out, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I concur. I concur. And thank you for taking that into consideration and not doing this sloppily. All right. Let's jump into some questions, and we'll wrap up. We're going to do a 15-minute lightning round, and then that'll have us actually at 2 hours for this webinar. So high five for endurance, everyone. Bam. Appreciate you guys being here. We still have 183. Well, if we take out the organizers, we have 180 people here still tuned in with us. So you guys are champs. We're going to get into some Q&A now. The first question that I saved here from both Connie and Antoinette has to do with the Rehabber's GPS function. Basically, in synopsis, they're putting out there that contractor costs are different nationwide. So does this assume that in its calculations, or is it kind of the same for the entire country?
Yeah, so let me go back into the one that I showed you guys right here, and we'll go back to our rehab estimator, and we'll just click into this first estimate, and we'll go back and we'll rerun the estimate. And down here, great question. FreedomSoft has a built-in housing market adjustment right here, so I could adjust this to any state and to any city, any major city in any state, and redo my estimate, and it gives you local repair cost estimates.
Excellent. So I also want to clarify this. I'm going to make a statement here that may be a bit of an assumption, but I want you to correct me if I'm mistaken. The Rehabber's GPS, its purpose is to give you an estimated number that you can use to make an educated offer, but it's not meant to be used as your final rehab budget that you go to your hard money lender with and say, hey, I want to do this deal, here's my rehab estimate. I think maybe that's kind of common sense, right? That you're not going to use software that's never seen your house to put together a rehab estimate that you're going to base your funding and your entire rehab upon if you're a rehabber, but it is something that you can use to very quickly and effectively get close enough based on the area that you're in and based on proven the costs in various markets that will allow you to get that property under contract. Then if you're a rehabber, if you're a wholesaler, I mean, your buyers end up having their own numbers anyway. I mean, if you're wholesale the house ever, then you know that whatever you come up with, what you're going to sell it to, the person you're selling to is going to have a different version of it. But if you're a rehabber, once you have it under contract, then you have to actually get your contractor in there, and it'd be interesting, see how close those numbers are.
Here,
what's your take on that, Rod?
I'll tell you a story on that, JP. I was time and time again. We have hundreds and hundreds and several thousand people using this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the hundreds of people that we actually get to hear from on an occasional, regular basis are blown away by how accurate these repair cost estimates are. Now, there's a couple things that throw a repair cost estimate out of the water. Mold, if you have to do mold remediation. Asbestos, if you have to do asbestos remediation. Structural, if you have to do structural damage remediation. And meth, if you have to do meth remediation. Those four things will throw a general repair cost estimate out. But within pretty darn close, reasonable. I was sitting in a meeting recently, JP, with a guy that does a lot of fix and flips all over the place, and he was looking at this tool for his business. He happens to be a real estate agent that works with dozens of investors, and they entrust him to do a lot of their lead analysis. And so this guy's sitting in the meeting. I go through this thing with him. I show him the re-average GPS. He likes it. He goes, so the question is, how accurate is it? And I said, well, give me an address. What are you guys working on right now? Give me something that you know what your budget is. And he said, okay, pulls up his laptop. He fires up an address. He gives me the address. I punch it in. I click submit, and this is up on a big screen with a bunch of people in the room, and I'm like throwing it out there. And I look at him, and he looks at his laptop. He looks up at the screen. He looks back at his laptop. He looks up at the screen. He closes his laptop. He looks at me, and he says, we want it. His budget was $60,000, and our repair cost estimate, using exactly what I just showed you guys, was $59,438. It missed it by less than $600. And
wow.
So, I can tell you story after story after story like that. But one of the really neat things is, watch this. To drive the point of estimate versus budget home, JP. Can I show you one more thing that'll take me 2 minutes?
Please, yes.
Watch this. If I click convert to project, I'm going to take this property and I'm going to say, yep, I want to go get hard money, private money. I want to do this fix and flip myself. I convert it to a project, and I select the project type from cosmetic, rental, or rehab, remodel, fix and flip. If I'm doing an addition or scraping a house or new construction. Guys, listen, we have new construction builders running their entire business on FreedomSoft today. That didn't happen 6 months ago, and I'm going to show you why right now. I'm going to say this is a full remodel, fix and flip. We're going to close on it here. The project completion date, construction completion, is, let's say, out here. I'm going to click Save Project. I'm converting it from my property pipeline into my project manager in the Rehabber's GPS. And as quickly as doing that, I just built out my entire construction sequence from start to finish. Every step, every task, every reminder all along the way. And so I can click on any of these, and it shows you the details, what you should be thinking about at each stage. And if there's something to do, you can build and create a task right inside FreedomSoft and assign that task to someone on your team or to yourself so you don't forget. So you can run your entire construction process right here. But now the reason I was going into this to show you is if you go to the rehab estimator inside the project manager, you can come in here, and I'm going to click on this, and let's see, yeah, we punched in $43,000, so that was just rehab the existing house. And now look at, I've got rental grade estimate, I've got a fix and flip grade estimate, and then I have this third column that's new, and this is called my build your budget column. You know, we have experienced investors that are asking these smart questions, and we have an experienced investor that built all this stuff because I know what you need, and that's why we built it the way we built it. So now we can edit any of this that we want. I won't. I'll just, yeah, I will. I'll just say paint, that's only going to cost me $1,500 instead of $1,800, okay? So now I could go through and I could build all of my project categories. I could adjust them as necessary. If I want to get bids from my contractors and piece it all together, it's all there. I click Set as my budget, and it moves it from my estimate column into now my built budget. And I click Use as Budget, and as quickly as I do that, I've got now a complete budget manager that I can run my entire project on. What's really cool about this is, JP, if you're out in the field and you just buy, let's go down to Windows, and you just buy $2,500 worth of windows, you put Home Depot, you put materials, you put 2,500, you paid with your credit card ending in 5544, you put the date that you paid for it, you click Save Changes, and now I've got a running history of this. But here's what you do. You take your cell phone, you take a picture of the receipt when you're at Home Depot, and you email it into this project email address right here. So every project gets a unique email address. So when you're in Home Depot, you take a picture of the receipt, you send it into the project. The next time you log in, right here in your attachments, you're going to have your Home Depot receipt right there.
So one of the questions that Greg here is asking is basically he was about to pull the trigger on Podio as a CRM, and he's wondering, you know, how similar or dissimilar is Podio to FreedomSoft. And so I just want to give, I have a lot of experience with Podio in our business, so I want to give a quick answer, and then you can see if there's anything to add to that, Rob. The Podio is very robust. It's very it's a solid system. It used to be free, but they don't have the free option anymore. So there's a monthly fee attached to it that it didn't used to be, but which is fine. But it's not built for real estate investors. It's built as a blank slate. It's basically build your own Swiss Army knife, right? You get like a blank slate for a Swiss Army knife, and you're like, let's decide what we want to do, and then let's start plugging things into it. So it has a massive learning curve. It just is what it is. We had to go through it when we started using Podio quite some time ago. Huge learning curve, and everybody kind of ends up with their own like version of how they run Podio. It's kind of like when you set up, Outlook. Like if you ever used Outlook, you look at 12 different people who use Outlook, and they're going to all have it set up a little bit differently, or a lot differently. What I like so much about what you've done with FreedomSoft is, as far as I can tell, everything that an investor uses Podio for, you have built into FreedomSoft if it wasn't there already. As far as I can tell, I don't know if I'm missing anything, but everything I'm aware of that an investor would shape Podio into or use an add-on to make Podio do, you've built into FreedomSoft now. And it's built for real estate investors out of the box. Like, it's baked in. This is for one industry, and there's while you can customize aspects of it, you can also pull it right out of the box and start using it exactly as it is without having to go through the massive learning curve. Would you say anything
totally
different?
No, that's exactly right. I mean, literally, JP, and I forget who asked that question. We
Right.
have investors. We have investors every day that are canceling 3, 4, 5 third-party systems, canceling Podio setups, canceling all their GlobalFlow integrations, saving themselves thousands of dollars a month. Because here's the thing, I was a big Podio user too before I bought FreedomSoft. And what was so frustrating is I literally had a technical person on my real estate team that just managed our Podio apps and kept everything working because some third-party integration would break, and then we'd have to figure out how to fix it. And so inside FreedomSoft, that's why I said, I know what we got to build. Let's build all of this stuff into it. And one of the things that people love about Podio is that you can customize all of these different things. Well, if you go to custom fields, JP, and you want to customize that entire leads, properties, and REI's GPS workflow right here, you click on this, and you can completely customize this entire thing. So the guy or the gal that wants to fiddle around with customizing everything, you can. Like, I can come down here and I can say, you know what, I want to have this primary contact record at the top of my page. So I can just sit here and I can just drag it to the top of my page.
Yeah.
And the next time I log in, it's right where I want it to be. So you can customize it however you want, right?
Well, and that's the thing. You can, but I love that you don't have to, right? Because
Absolutely.
some people are just like, look, some people, like, they want to get in there. They're the mad scientist, and they want to, like, I want to make this into my thing. Other people are like, I just want to use what works as is and have as little customization as possible, which I'm actually more that way now because I just don't have the time to get in and fiddle with it. It'll suck all my time away or my employees' time.
Exactly.
So we have Agnes is asking about the community and classroom tab, and then tied to that, we have a couple of specific people who've asked about training on this because they're, I guess, I mean, we're covered a lot in this video, but in terms of systematically going back or teaching an employee how to do a lot of what we've learned how to do, can you just show us where and what that training looks like?
Yeah. So
before you do,
so a couple
customers here,
yeah,
Roy.
What's that?
I was just going to tell you before you do, one of your customers here, Roy Leach, said, I've been using FreedomSoft for several months. I had no idea it was this powerful. You're welcome, Roy.
Yeah, man, that's, you know, we hear that a lot because it does do a lot, but you know, it's simple out of the box. You can be up and running in minutes, but then you can really dive in, and once you discover the power, it's like, man, it's awesome. So to answer the classroom question, right under here, under the classroom, we have our success trainings, and I'm going to click on this, JP, and it takes you through every little nuance that you might be interested in, like here, on how to set up your buyer matching, right? So here's a 3-minute and 59-second video on setting up your buyer matching. You know, working with agents, making offers using FreedomSoft, how you use that document generator, 15-minute video here. Most of our videos are very short, scrubbing leads. Here's a 5-minute, 40-second video. So we have fantastic success trainings inside the classroom. We also do something else. And so there's 27 videos in our success lab. Then we also do weekly FreedomSoft lab trainings where we come on and we teach you guys as FreedomSoft users best practices, how to get the most out of using FreedomSoft, tricks and tips that we implement in our business. Like, we open our business and show you guys, hey, here's how we set up our dashboard. Here's how we manage all of our lead flow. So we got people covered when it comes to training. And the other thing is we have world-class customer support. You know, try to go get customer support about a real estate issue from Podio. It doesn't exist. If you want to get it from FreedomSoft, right? We're here. Hey, this is a crazy concept. We actually answer the phone, and we actually reply to our emails. And so I have a team that is really here to dedicated to helping investors succeed with this.
Rob, I got a good, I think a really solid question here. We're just a couple more questions. We're at 2 hours now, so we're going to wrap this up. A couple more questions. One is Darnell says, I think this is a great point. Can you import buyers from other CRMs? Like if you're a Podio user, for example, or something else, and you want to switch to FreedomSoft, but you've got all this stuff in Podio, is it manual all the way to make a transition, or do you have something built in to assist?
One of the things that I knew when I bought FreedomSoft and said we're going to make the frickin' best system out there for real estate investors is I knew that in order to win people to our platform, regardless of how awesome it was, we had to make it easy to move from any existing system or from wherever they were today. And so whether it's a lead, whether it's your entire contact database, whether it's your buyers list, whether it's your property pipeline, it doesn't matter what it is. We've built simple importers to import your entire existing database into FreedomSoft with a couple of clicks. You can choose your upload file right here. You can set up your data to group it however you want. You can put it into an existing group or leave it blank. Match up the fields so we know what you're bringing in. Preview your import to make sure it's good to go. Confirm it, and it's uploaded. So the short answer is yes, you can import in about 50 seconds your entire database.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, the last question, which has been asked a whole bunch, and let me hang on a second. I just made myself the presenter here just as we wrap up. A lot of people are asking about if they give it a 14-day trial, what happens after that? Like if they decide they want to stick with it, what can you tell us about what it costs and what's involved and that kind of thing after 14 days?
Yeah, so we offer 3 different plans for FreedomSoft. We offer the basic, the plus, and the max plan. And the price is $97, $197, and $297 a month. Here's what we're doing right now. If you guys go start your free trial, like that big orange button like JP is showing on the page, and create your account on the next step, you'll be taken to the select your plan page. And what we're doing right now is we're offering a max plan for the price of plus. So you can get a max plan and unlock everything in FreedomSoft to all the power that I'm showing you here today for $197 a month. And so, JP, I think you would agree. I mean, if you start to go put an email marketing system together, an automation, a task management system, a CRM, a marketing automation, phone system, voicemail, text messaging, you start to add up all these systems, you're going to blow past $200 a month, in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what this replaces right now. This replaces Podio, which has a cost. Also, you'd have to have Globoflow tied into Podio. For those of you who know Podio, you know what I'm talking about. So there's more monthly costs associated with that to be able to do what we've seen here. Vumber, which is the whole phone number thing. Callfire. This also would replace Callfire. What else? What am I missing? There's probably things in the marketing aspect that we need to look at.
Your email marketing.
Yeah, Aweber or whatever your replacement of that's going to be. So. And one of the biggest costs that people have, like all of these things are little fees that start to add up, right? $50 here, $100 there. The big one that people realize is that they get rid of either the pain of doing it themselves or the cost of paying someone to take leads out of one system and move it into another and manage this list and put it over there. Like all these disconnected systems trying to connect together. You guys have seen this is all connected in one system. Yeah. Yeah, and everything's very symbiotic with all the components, are all interlinked really elegantly. All right. Well, guys, man, that was a power session. I was not expecting 2 hours, but it was 2 hours of really meaty stuff because we took almost the whole first hour just to talk concepts, right? We just talked about the trap. We talked about the concept of scaling and what it looks like to scale a business, the difference between the hustle and owning a business and the criticalness of that transition, and then kind of giving you a picture of whether you're trying to, maybe you're at the beginning stages of starting an actual business and not just a hobby in real estate, or whether you're well entrenched into it and you do deals like clockwork, but you're all over the map and you're using 14 different things to do it. We've seen a really robust and rich system here that is available to us. But if nothing else, guys, and I want to emphasize what I said earlier. What you see on the screen here, our goal here was not to see how many trials of FreedomSoft we could start. I mean, that may be Rob's goal. That's probably his goal. I don't know. That's why I said yes to be on here. But my goal is not to do that. I want to make sure that you guys have a bigger vision for what's possible in your business when it comes to scaling, when it comes to lead generation, when it comes to using a tool like FreedomSoft or something else, whatever it is, tools and systems will level up your business when you take the time to get your head around them, implement them, and then hand them off to people who will run them for you. It's truly powerful, and it's the difference. Those of you who are Kiyosaki fans, it's the difference between people in the S quadrant, the self-employed quadrant, versus the B quadrant, the business owner. I spent most of my early career as a real estate investor squarely in the S quadrant. I thought I was a B, but I was an S. That's pretty funny. A lot of BS. I thought I was a business owner. I was a self-employed person, and I was just on a different hamster wheel. And a lot of times you start out that way, but you don't have to stay there any longer than you have to stay there. So get off the hamster wheel and start running a business using some kind of system. Take what you've learned today, the principles, if nothing else, of what you've learned today, and apply it in your real estate investing endeavors, and it will take you to the next level faster than anything else. I can guarantee it.
Yeah,
Rob,
man.
I want to thank you, man.
Hey, absolutely. No, look, my goal is obvious, to deliver value, right?
Yeah.
And convince, by showing the value that we've created, that using FreedomSoft in their real estate investing business is the only smart choice. That's my second tier goal. And that's why we focus so much on building the right product, so that I can come on here and I can deliver so much value and give people tools to go out, and they're going to look back and say, man, that makes sense to use that system and that tool to help me run my business. So I hope we successfully delivered. We didn't even get to show them Lead Swiper and the 53 different built-in lead campaigns and all that other cool stuff.
Uh-oh, I smell another webinar coming in the near future. All right, Rob, thank you so much, man. Tell Melita that, sorry, I don't know if we kept you from dinner or whatever. It's like 7 p.m. there, or 6. It's 8 p.m. where you are now, so appreciate it. Thank you guys for dialing in with us, those of you who've been with us for the 2 hours. Wherever you are, whatever's going on in your world, you carved out some time to be with us, and we're grateful for that. We're grateful for you. That's a wrap. This is JP and Rob Swansonator out of here.
See you guys. Thank you.
See you guys.